20.
20?
21, 22, 23.
Oh, 20. 20. My parents know Spanish fluently. They just didn't want to teach me because they wanted to take me out for ice cream without me knowing. That was the thing.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. What's
Hi.
up? My name is Tim.
And I'm Ed.
And welcome to what I like to call 5 Minutes with the Mastersmith. This is a really, really fun thing that I'm really excited to get to do because it's asking him questions that I would say don't get asked. And it's one of the things that I want to just introduce him as much to you guys as humanly possible. You know he's a knife maker, but you don't know what makes him special. And I like sharing the special parts. That sounds a little odd, doesn't it? What we've been doing is we've been asking a couple of questions and you answering them. And I think we've had 2 episodes so far. I know they're going to be hits because it's just us chatting and sharing his life. But there is one question I think a lot of people would be curious to ask in a basic idea. And that's, what's the parts that you don't like about knife making?
Well, anybody who knows me knows my number one least favorite part of knife making is dead cows.
Okay.
And for those who don't understand,
I like dead cow myself. I mean,
well, dead cows grilled, that's pretty fine stuff. I'm talking about the leftovers.
Is that what's up? You're a vegan?
No vegan. No,
vegan?
Vegans don't live here. But what I'm talking about is leather work. Quite honestly, it is my least favorite part of knife making. And how do I say this without sounding so stuck up that everybody goes, he's a jerkwad? Honestly, it's one of those things that I hate to do, but I do it because, and before anybody comes after me with a hatchet, sword, axe, or anything else, there's a lot of fine custom leather workers out there who do fabulous work. And I've tried them. My problem has always been they make an absolutely fine product, but what they don't do is when they make a sheath for me, I don't know how to say it in any other way other than the sheath they build does not match the knife that goes in it.
Sure.
So it's one of those things that...
It's a full package. You want to make the full package.
Absolutely. To me, and there are a lot of knife makers who offer knives without sheaths, and that's okay. That's cool if that's their thing. Me, if I don't offer a sheath with a knife, it's kind of akin to going to a car lot, buying a car, and then they go, oh, by the way, it doesn't come with wheels and tires. You know, it's just kind of a piece that's missing. It's
the bike that you get for Christmas and the tires come next year.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I love it. Okay. And there is one other thing that just, and this is more a personal pet peeve than anything in knife making. It's when I take the time to talk to someone, whether it be on the phone, online, you know, whatever the scenario, when it's a one-on-one scenario and I have somebody asking me, okay, how do you do X, Y, Z? And then when I take the time and effort to explain it to them, the response is, no, that's not how it should be done. And so what that boils down to for Ed Caffrey is, if you don't want the answer, don't ask the question.
Right.
But you know, outside of those two, the one pet peeve and the one area of knife making, let me back up and say just a tad more on the sheath issue.
Yeah.
Even though I dislike it, years ago, my missus at a knife show, you know, she kept telling me, oh, you're good at it, you're good at it. And I thought it was just a wife stroking her husband's ego. But I did notice...
No one minds that.
Oh, no, that's a guy thing. We dig that.
We dig that.
But I did notice that, particularly when it came to the larger knife shows, such as the Blade Show in Atlanta, clients almost spent as much time examining the sheaths as they did the knife. Mm-hmm. And then there were times where my table would always be next to other knife makers, you know, it always is. But what I would notice was some of those makers did not offer sheaths with a knife. And of course, you know, we're 8 feet away from each other.
Right.
So you obviously can see what's going on at the tables next to you.
Right.
Excuse me. But what I would notice is they would pick the knife up, generally acted like they were really interested in it, and then I would hear them ask the question, is there a sheath comes with it. And as soon as the knife maker would say, no, that doesn't have a sheath, they would set that knife back on the table and they're off and running.
Yep.
So, but yeah, those are probably my one pet peeve and my least favorite portion. But it's also one of those things that I feel I have to do simply because I have yet to find anybody. I don't want to say they don't make it to my level of quality. Those that do make it to the level of quality, they have a difficult time matching the knife. Those who are more or less hobbyist leather folks,
Yep.
I've tried them also, and I get these sheaths back that don't even fit the knife. They're made out of real chintzy, cheap leather, and
Sure.
just not me.
A knife has a personality. A knife has when I look at a knife and I look at each one of Ed's, I see a personality, just an anger in one knife and a gentleness in another knife and something, and that needs to also be portrayed as well in the sheaths.
I agree.
And I'm a caricature artist by trade before I really got into video making, and so when I look at someone's face, I see exaggeration, proportion, things that make the face fun or make the face interesting or unique or beautiful. And same thing happens when you knife. When you look at a knife,
Exactly.
all those same features are in there. How bulky the knife is, how thin it is, what makes it different, and portraying that in the sheath comes out just as important.
Absolutely,
as
I
the
think
blade.
it has to be. There's a small article on my website. It's called The Overall Package. And one of the things that I think, and it's very prevalent in younger / newer makers, but it's because they just haven't gained the experience yet.
Sure.
You know, a lot of guys will emphasize a given aspect, let's say hardness of a blade or grind of a blade or something like that. And knife making, and really this is where you and I click so well, is because when it boils down to it, we're both artists.
Yep.
And you blend a great many things in to one of your characters. Same thing with knife making.
Sure.
It's a combination of a lot of different things coming together in the right proportions to make not only a functional tool, but something that is beautiful to behold.
A straight line next to a curve is a beautiful thing. And if you look at it in the artistic sense, if you go to school for art, they talk about when you're drawing the human body, one half of the body is all curves, the other half is all straight lines. And that's all design.
Yeah,
and that plays the same feature in knives.
Exactly. And, you know, really, you know, there's actually two schools of thought when it comes into knife making. We're getting into a totally different area than what I dislike.
That's all part of this, though.
Yeah, but, you know, there are knife makers who make what I call mechanical knives, sharp angles, sharp corners, those sort of things. There's nothing wrong with that. That's their gig.
They're edgy.
Yeah.
Attitude in the knife.
Yeah, that's an attitude thing. For me, I get all my inspiration for knives from nature. And the one thing you will always discover about nature is there are no straight lines.
No.
And so blending, bends, bows, curves, all that stuff comes into play.
Even the dead cows.
Even the dead cows, you know, even though I dislike them, you know, it's just...
Well, we're going to go ahead and end on that note. I love that these just kind of ebb and flow to whatever they want, because conversation, in a normal sense, also ebbs and flows.
True.
So being able to talk about anything that leads within the topic, that's great. So we're going to come back with more. I mean, we're going to do this for several weeks. I'm excited about this.
Yep.
And just continue to come up with some fun questions to ask you.
That's your
and
job.
Have fun. Oh,
My job is to be the monkey in front of the camera.
I like it being in front of the camera too.
Well, that's
sometimes,
cool.
so
You can
we
be
have
in
our
front of
fun
the camera, but see, you know how to do both sides. I just know how to do this side.
Yeah. Join us on knifemakertraining.com. Take a look at our guides that we work so hard on. This guy gets in front of the forge, explains things in amazing detail, ad lib, and just does such an amazing job with his training videos. I'm very excited that we can get you involved in them. Follow us on Instagram at Knifemaker Training on Instagram, and of course on Facebook, on our Facebook page and our Facebook group.
Yeah, and just a word for everyone on the Facebook group, we do have an open group, and we also have a closed group.
Yes.
Not really a whole lot of difference in them. A lot of guys tend to use the closed group to ask questions that they don't want in public, which is fine. And Tim or I, either one, have the ability to allow you in that group.
Yeah.
So just ask away, we'll let you in.
And don't be afraid to ask Ed questions. We've had some people say, hey, I'm sure you get a lot of questions. I'm sorry for asking. ask the questions. He likes to
Oh,
teach.
absolutely. Yeah, for those of you who may or may not have seen previous videos, the first part of my morning, you need to go watch that video, by the way, how Ed Caffrey starts his day. Every day for me, at least an hour in front of the computer. So that's when I'm looking at forums, answering questions. And with the idea of questions in mind, Tim's already given you some places to go.
Yeah.
If you have questions for me, feel free to even look up my website at caffreyknives.net. Email's there, the phone's there. If I don't happen to answer the phone, most of the time it's because I've got earplugs in and working in the shop. So please leave me a message and a number, and I do my best to always return phone calls by the next day.
Yep. All right, we're going to leave it at that. We will see you guys in our next video. Thank you so much for watching this with us.
And until next time, I'm Ed, and
I'm Tim.
thanks much. Have
Bye.
a great day.